Hey guys, it's Ocean Breezer 325 back here for another video, which will be our new series, Monday Premium, which we will be reviewing some of our premium ships we have and giving reviews on them, and basically just saying whether the ship is worth it or not. So, for a first one, we got a doozy of a ship that will ruffle some feathers, most notably the Cossack, the Tier 6 Royal Navy Premium Destroyer from the Jervis class. So, we will be discussing which type of player should buy the ship, what its strengths and weaknesses are, if it's even worth it, and of course how much money in total / doubloons it will cost you. So, let's begin with my opinion here. So, out of playing, like 20 games or so in the Cossack, I have a 75% win rate in it. 3 out of them I've broken 100k with 3 kills, and 2 matches I probably should have got Krakens, but you know, my team just yoinked kills. So, is the Cossack a damage printer? It most certainly can do that. It will not be easy to do that, but it's definitely a ship capable of dishing out high damage games every once in a while, if you get lower tiered. That is the thing about the Cossack. The Cossack will struggle against high tier ships. Same tier or lower tier, the Cossack is almost top of the game. Almost, because there's a couple of destroyers that outclass it almost every way possible. But the Cossack's a decent ship at same tier or lower tier, especially since it's with its nasty concealment. I currently have it at 5.2 kilometer concealment, which even outspots some Fubukis at tier 5. Is godly, because now you don't have to shoot your guns, you just keep the Fubuki spotted and just your team wrecks them, and then once you feel it's necessary to step into the fight, you of course can do that, because you still got pretty nice reload on your guns, even with a torpedo build. And this is now the part where I discuss its major strengths and weaknesses. One of its major strengths, it's its insane torpedo reload. I have a build that gets hit under a minute and reload. One of the drawbacks is you only get 1 torpedo launcher, but those torps are like mini British nukes. 16k max damage. Of course, you can fire them in single file, since of course they're British torps. They do a heck of a lot of damage, and of course a 59-second reload time means you'll be shooting a lot of those in the water there. The guns are average. Of course, I'm not doing myself any favor running a torpedo build, so you know the guns are sacrificed for this, but I do think that it is the way to go with this, with the Cossack, because of course you have fast reloading torps that do a lot of damage, so you want to improve on that. So yeah, that's what my build is. And one of its weaknesses, now here we go, rear firing angles. It is just like the rear firing angles and the lack of British smoke really hurts this ship. I mean, the rear fired angles are like, I'm not even joking, like, you must be completely broadside, and then like ever so slightly off, you probably won't be able to shoot the rear gun. And the smoke screen, not the problem of length, is the reload time is just horrendous. Like 2.5 minute reload time for a 1:31 smoke screen. Yeah, not the greatest, especially if you're used to the British smoke screens, which are basically like, you know, get out of jail free cards. If you're about to die, you just set one, and you have like 7 other smoke screens, or you want to spam something, you go ahead and do that. But you really got to be careful about your usage of smoke screens in this. That is why my build is Wrangled Shringwa. I'm sorry, I butchered that. Whatever the commander build is at the end of the video, that is my commander build. I do suggest following that to the teeth if you want to have successful Cossack games. I think Smogathon has to be one of your legendary abilities if you were to use this for Cossack, because that gives you 4 smoke screens instead of 2. And obviously quantity is better over quality. I mean, you only get 10 seconds of it being like you can move around 10 seconds of it, but it's not really that bad. So let's go into details of like exactly what the consumables are, since it is slightly different from the Jervis. So one of its consumables is 2 Japanese smoke screens at base. If you noticed I have 3 smoke screens, is because I'm running Smogathon. The second consumable is a speed boost, your standard speed boost of I believe 10%. And of course you get 2 British sonars, not the 3 that come with the regular British destroyers, but 2. You do get, I believe, half a kilometer extra detection from this sonar, and an extra 30 seconds of duration. So now you can spot destroyers and smoke screens at a roughly 4.2 kilometers instead of 3.7. Sorry. So the sonar is slightly better. Obviously you lose a charge, but I think the sonar is still really good for its 3-minute duration. And of course, spotting others in a smoke screen long before they spot you is a good way of how to beat gunfights. Like for example, I've killed many Bensons who just smoke up for absolutely no reason. It's literally a Cossack. It's pretty easy to outgun by almost any destroyer. I will say the guns are pretty measly on this thing. It's not really worth running a gunboat build, because obviously the point of the Cossack is to really decrease that torp reload of 16,000 torp damage. And of course I have it to 59 seconds, which means torps will always be available to you, and they hit like trucks, especially at tier 5. So that is exactly why I say that the Cossack is a difficult ship to play, but you don't need too many torp hits to do crazy damage. As you see, that torp hit on the Byron there did like 16k right there, like the max damages. And look, with only 2 torp hits, we're already at 60,000 damage. So you can definitely see that it's not the hardest ship to get good damage in. But there is a drawback, and this is the main drawback to this ship. Players that should buy this are people who mainly play in divisions, mainly people who play with cruiser mains, because the Cossack cannot support itself versus sustained fire. I mean, no DD can, but especially the Cossack, because its other main drawback is that it sits very high on the waterline, like abnormally high on the waterline, so you're gonna struggle from not getting hit from anything, especially at max range. What does help you is your concealment, but it really doesn't help you if you're like the size of a truck. And I mean, like, it's a tall ship, I will say that. But at the end of the day, if you are looking for something fun and new to play, I don't really regret buying this ship. I mean, it's definitely a thing that will get playing, or you have to get used to playing, but once you get used to playing it and, you know, use its strengths and weaknesses, which is the high damage and low reloading torps, and just keep in mind that your bow sits very high in the waterline, and just also keep in mind that you don't have to use the rear turret, because you can just sit bow in, and your actually bow armor is pretty decent on this ship, above average for most destroyers at the tier, so there is compromise for a high bow. So at the end of the day, I think the ship is worth it if you want something new and interesting to play. If you want something that prints Krakens and prints easy 100k damage games, I don't suggest buying this ship. I mean, I did say that 2 torp hits basically brought me to half 50,000 damage. Sorry, I cannot speak, but it is not the easiest thing to survive in this thing once you are spotted. So let's go ahead and rate it 1 out of 10. I would rate the Cossack at about 7.5. It's an okay ship. I definitely think that with a couple of buffs, this thing could be really competitive at tier 6, mainly replacing that secondary. Yeah, did I forget to mention the meme secondary? Yeah, it doesn't do much for you, mate. Doesn't do much for you other than gives you that satisfactory secondary ribbon hit as a destroyer, but other than that, it's just there for props. I think if Wargaming were ever buff this, I think a good place to start would be to decrease the smokescreen reload just a bit to make it a bit more competitive. I think the smokescreen reload is just a bit much, and as well as add the 4th turret if they're willing to. But again, Legends and PC are not the same thing, so I get Wargaming's decision to make a secondary thing. But there is also the Tier 6 Orkan, the Pan-European destroyer, and they are both similar ships other than the fact that the Orkan has radar, Cossack has sonar, and the Cossack also has smoke. So out of the two DDs that I just referenced, Cossack, Orkan, I think the Cossack is better in almost every way because you get faster reloading torps that do more damage. I know that just came out of nowhere, but the Orkan is almost similar to the Cossack, a very one-dimensional trick pony with its torpedo, but I honestly am enjoying the Cossack a lot. So, if you guys are ready for next week Monday's review, put down in the comments what ship you want next. And anyway, thank you guys for riding the waves with Ocean Brazier.